Hi everyone, Susan Brady here from Nurtured Bones. Bone is living tissue, and like all living tissue, it requires a steady supply of nutrients and oxygen to stay strong. And one mineral that plays a crucial role in this process is iron. Iron is most often associated with energy levels and fatigue, but it is also essential for building collagen matrix of the bone, supporting oxygen delivery to bone cells, and maintaining a healthy balance between bone breakdown and repair. And whether levels are too low or too high, imbalances in iron can weaken your bones over time. Iron is essential for healthy bones because it influences nearly every step of the bone remodeling process. It helps with the synthesis of collagen that gives bone its flexibility and strength. It delivers oxygen to the bone cells, and without iron, red blood cells can't provide that steady supply of oxygen that your bone cells need. And it also plays a role in bone cell regulation by controlling both the osteoblasts, the cells that build new bone, as well as the osteoclasts, the bone resorbing cells. Now, iron deficiency and anemia can lead to bone loss. So here are the clinical findings and what they show. Iron deficiency anemia doubles the risk of osteoporosis, particularly in postmenopausal women and elderly men. Each small drop in hemoglobin, that protein found in your red blood cells that carries the oxygen, is associated with a 2% increase in osteoporosis risk. In a 2025 study, they found that anemia raised the risk of osteosarcopenia by 55%. So osteosarcopenia is that condition where you have osteoporosis and sarcopenia, or muscle loss, occurring together, creating a double threat to the strength, stability, and independence as we age. And then lastly, hypoxia, or low oxygen delivery, secondary to anemia, increases oxidative stress and impairs the function of your bone building cells. However, too much iron can be just as harmful. So ferritin is a marker of your iron storage, and it's one of the most sensitive markers for identifying iron deficiency. However, it's also what we call an acute phase reactant, meaning that ferritin can go up when there's inflammation in your body, even if your actual iron levels are low. And it's been shown that higher ferritin levels are linked to lower bone mineral density, especially at the hip, femur, and spine in women over 45. Postmenopausal women with high ferritin levels face a five-fold increase in fracture risk. And men with iron overload show an 82% higher risk of osteoporotic fractures. And this is because excessive iron promotes oxidative stress, damaging your bone tissue. And it may also interfere with that important signal that your body sends out to build new bone. And postmenopausal women are especially vulnerable to higher ferritin levels due to estrogen decline and iron accumulation after menopause. So there are a couple of markers for iron and anemia that I like to look at in your standard blood panel. So one is hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is a protein that carries oxygen around in your red blood cells. There's also hematocrit, which represents the percent of red blood cells you have in your blood. There's ferritin, that iron storage protein. And as we talked about, high levels can reflect overload or inflammation. And then also serum iron, which is the amount of iron you have circulating in your blood. And together, these markers can provide a powerful picture of bone relevant iron status, as well as whether or not you have anemia and if you have elevated ferritin levels, possibly indicating inflammation. Now, there are a couple things you can do to support optimal iron levels. The first thing is just test and track. Get a full iron panel and look at all the markers together, not just the serum iron. Ferritin and hemoglobin are key for a bone risk assessment. You want to be able to correct any deficiencies by including iron-rich foods in your diet like red meat, lentils, pumpkin seeds, spinach. Pair your iron-rich foods with vitamin C to boost absorption. And then you can use supplements, but use them under supervision, especially if you have digestive issues or the MTHFR variant. You want to address iron overload if it's present. So if ferritin is high, you want to rule out chronic inflammation or genetic conditions like hemochromatosis or even possible liver issues. And then don't overlook gut health or oxygen health. Low stomach acid, gut dysbiosis, or intestinal inflammation can impair iron absorption. And then conditions like sleep apnea or COPD may worsen oxygen delivery to your bones, even if your iron levels are normal. The iron bone link deserves more attention. Iron imbalances, whether too little or too much, may be quietly accelerating your bone loss. Low iron weakens collagen structure and starves your bone cells of oxygen. On the other hand, high iron triggers inflammation and disrupts bone regulating pathways. But here's the thing, both of these are modifiable risk factors for osteoporosis. And with the right testing and proactive plan, you can support your energy, oxygen delivery, and bone strength all together. And if you want to learn more about all the lab tests I recommend for bone health, join me for my free webinar. It's called Beyond the Bone Scan, What Your Doctor Isn't Testing But Should Be. It's going to be Thursday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. You're going to learn which lab tests go deeper than a DEXA scan, how to use your results to build a stronger, more resilient you. And as a bonus, all live attendees are going to get my bone health testing tracker. So that's a tool that's going to help you organize and understand your labs. And then additionally, I'm going to be making a special offer for lab testing in honor of May being National Osteoporosis Month. The link to sign up for the webinar is in the description section of this video. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you at the webinar.